Welcome back to the 4th of July edition of MVP Real Estate Podcast. We're season 2, episode 23. We have Jeanette Chasworth here from bright and sunny California, little suburb out of LA, so you're probably enjoying the
Very much.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for giving us some time.
And thank you for having me on here. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Learned you're in LA, but we are still fresh on what you do. So can you give me and the listeners a little bit of a background of kind of what you do within your market, and then how, like, the steps or the process it took you to get to where you're at?
Oh, okay.
It could be long, it could be short, however you want to set it up.
All right. So I'm the color whisperer, and I design homes for joy-filled living. Our homes are a reflection of who we are. And our homes, there's something called neural aesthetics, which is, I know it's a big word.
Right up my alley.
So there's actually a science around how our environment affects how we feel physically and emotionally. And that's why, the last couple of years, we've all really been getting into our homes more, and people have been making more changes because they're seeing, like, they're stuck in their home and they're really seeing, wait, this is affecting me. Whereas before they were going in and out a lot, they could avoid it. It's not avoidable right now. So right. Our homes really are an integral part of our well-being. And that's what I do, is I create homes that really give you joy. There's 4 parts of color whispering. One is color theory. Any designer knows that, or should. There's color psychology, which is each color has its own story, its own impact on you. And some designers use that. So I'll give you an example. When you go into a restaurant, a lot of the old diners, the fast food places, you see a lot of red and orange, right? So these are colors that make your food taste better. They help you digest, so you want to eat more. However, they're very high strength, very high energy colors. And most people aren't comfortable sitting in those colors for very long.
Right.
So the idea is to get you in and get you out fast. Now, if you have a Habit near you, the Habit's kind of upscale fast food, and they've done something really interesting with their decor, at least for me. But they have orange wood. So there's a lot of wood in there, but it's kind of an orange tinted wood. It's a natural orange, but it's still the orange. And then they have kind of an orangey red on the molding, on the ceiling, and in different other places. So they're using it, but they're doing it more upscale. Now, when you go into a fine restaurant, or if you want to go into like Starbucks, you're not going to see that orange and red combination. You might see one or the other because it still has the food correlation, but you're not going to see the combination. So now you're going in restaurants, you look around and go, oh, they want me to stay here? They don't. Right. Another technique I use is actually a wardrobe. It's actually a wardrobing technique. And so, okay, you've got the color. So yellow is a friendly color, makes you feel happy. But what shade of yellow is right for you? And so I use that to find the right shade for you and how you want to feel in a space. And then how much stuff do you need? Some people are very minimalist. Some people need more accessories. What kind of furniture do you need? All of this gets told to me through this technique. And then, yeah, it's really cool. Okay, so for me, see, I've got a lot of texture in my hair. I need a lot of texture. So I tend to wear, for video, I wear a plain shirt because it just shows up better. But I got to wear a lot of texture necklace because that's going to make me feel whole. If I didn't have this, if I just were to wear like a little, you've got like a little pendant there, it would just be totally lost on me. You wouldn't see it at all.
I'm very minimalist.
Right. I'm not surprised at that.
I'm going to love this podcast. I'm so excited.
The whole like color psychology thing, with my psychology background, I don't even know how many numerous either experiments or reports that I've read about Not technically within homes, but like food.
Oh.
So that restaurant piece that you were talking about was so big. And I remember there was a part in like the 90s when they started to get like crazy with ketchup. And they used to make like purple ketchup and blue ketchup. Same Heinz bottle, but different colors.
Huh.
And as a kid, I thought it was kind of cool, but I always thought it tasted different. It's the same thing. Um, but the color of what you're eating and what you taste are paired.
Oh,
It's
for
super
sure.
crazy. And I think it went back to like the hunting gathering days, like the gathering part of it. Um, there are some colors that are basically imprinted in our brain that are either more appetizing because when we were gathering them, they weren't poisonous and we could actually eat them. So it's like deep embedded into our brain, which is kind of crazy when you talk about interior colors and exterior colors, and what it feels and gives off for either people viewing the house or living in the house.
So I'll give you something else that's even more fascinating. So we've got all the color things, and yeah, you're right. When you go on a diet, they tell you to have a colorful plate, and we tend to be drawn toward white food because it's bread and it's all the things that are bad for us, right? It's sugar. So the more colors on your plate, the healthier you are. So here's another interesting thing. So we're talking about neural aesthetics. And
that was the word I was going to ask you with that. Neuroaesthetics.
Neural aesthetics. So
Okay.
neural is brain, and then aesthetics is what's surrounding you. And so when a baby's born, the first thing it's looking for is a face, because that's its survival. It's food, right?
Mhm.
But it also is bonding, and so it's getting like all the things that it's going to need to survive, but also to enjoy life. In that first minute, when it sees a face, it says, okay, I'm safe. So as humans, we're always looking for faces. So if you think there's logos out there that have faces on them,
Mhm.
but here's the thing too, there's furniture placement that looks like a face. So look at the fireplace behind me. It kind of looks like a face.
Yeah.
You see the face in it?
Yeah.
Okay. So our eyes are constantly looking for a face. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. So with autism, they're looking away from the eyes. They're looking away from face.
Mhm.
So if I'm designing for somebody with autism, I'm not going to be trying to find that face. I'm going to actually create a space that doesn't have that. So there's a lot of things I can do to create a happier living space, a healthier living space for somebody, depending on what's going on with them.
So now I can
That
tell
is
my
awesome.
husband that I was really just using these aesthetics to like make myself feel happier in my house because I work from home all day. So really spending all this money was for my psyche and
your mental health.
Yes. Yes.
It's for your mental health. It's much cheaper than a doctor.
Exactly. So now he can't
Yeah.
get me. I really saved you. I saved you money, Jason.
It's true. It's true. I had a client once. She had lost her husband, and one of the things I do is with this wardrobe technique, it's a recreation. And I've gone through a lot of grief in my life, and it's something that happens when I do the design work, and as I help people get through grief. And she said she hired me because I was more fun than going to a therapist.
Well, that's a major plus. A
It
major
is.
plus.
It is.
And you definitely can change the feel of your surroundings with paint colors. And I don't know how many houses I've gone into where I'm like, this is just way too busy. But you can change the paint color to go more mellow, or if it's barren and you want to bring some brightness to it, you change the wall color, and it does change the feel of the room and the energy of the room. And then I've even gotten into not even just the color you painted, but what walls you paint and how that's separated. And it brings either like elongates the room, widens it, height, brings the height into the room. It's super crazy what you can do with the colors.
Color has such an amazing impact. So I'll give you a couple fun stories. I had a client years ago, and I walk in her master bedroom, and there's a twin size bed there with mom and dad. And I'm like, what's up with this? Their kid's 9 years old. She goes, oh, she has nightmares over 9/11. This is 5 years after 9/11.
Wow.
And I said, I know, right? And I said, well, did she know anybody? I thought, well, maybe, something really hit her.
Yeah.
No. So we go in her room, and mom had created this wonderful little princess room, and she had these wide stripes in the wall, like so. But the little girl was dyslexic, so they weren't stripes like this. They were like this. So 9/11 never ended for her.
Wow.
And I explained that to her. And I explained that yellow is actually going to help her learn. So that's why we have yellow pads. So if you're trying to learn something and it's not going in, go take notes on a yellow pad, and that will help. See, yellow stickies. Yep. It all helps. So I explained this to her, and mom says, well, I can't get her out of the living room, and there's lots of yellow in there. So the little kid's body knew what she needed.
That's insane.
Right? But how many pills would she have been on? How many doctors would she have seen? And how many of them would have said you need to paint her room?
What does texture do for your living environment?
So it depends on your personality. So you can't handle very much texture.
It's so funny. I skim coated all of our walls in our house because I could not stand the texture of the walls.
No, you're not a texture gal. Me, I'm a texture gal.
Even the stucco on the side of our house, I'm like, it's chipping and peeling and falling off. That's why I'm like, nope, we're gonna go get like siding because it's even. It's like,
that is funny because that's spot on. She just finished the skim coating project.
I'm like, it can't be that hard, right? And it wasn't hard. It was just very tedious.
Yeah, that is for sure.
It really depends on the person. So, like for me, this room behind me, I've done maybe 2 houses I would actually live in. This is one of them I would personally live in.
So this background that we're seeing right here is one that you've
yes
designed on that.
Yes, this is an arts and crafts home. It was actually made it into a magazine. And
it does look cozy.
It does. Thank you. Okay, so let me show you something not me. Okay, so you see, I just disappeared. Like, this is so incongruent compared to what it was, because now this has still got some pattern, but there's not the texture. I disappear here. I look.
Yes.
And then
does not look like you.
It does not look like me. Now this makes me feel more alive.
Okay.
And then I'll show you, this is one of my favorite pieces. I love this piece. I'm going to take me out for a second. So my client had some bookcases and she didn't like them. And she looks at me and she says, Jeanette, what would you do? And she was Japanese American. She wanted to honor both. And it was one of those wonderful creative spark moments. And I said, let's do a tansu chest with a bookcase and blow it out the whole wall. And she said, yes. And that's what we created. So
that's awesome.
I love that. It still gives me goosebumps whenever I see it.
When my mom was alive, we went to Disney World one year, right? And she loved Asian art. Like, she loved the Asian culture. It was just her thing. She was from Southern California as well. So I think it kind of went hand in hand. But we went and she got a Japanese wedding kimono, and she busted every wall minus 2 walls in her house, and she designed her entire house around this Japanese wedding kimono. She put it in like plexiglass, so when you walk in the house, that was the first thing you saw, and she designed the entire house surrounding that.
That's wonderful. And there's so many colors in the kimonos and so many accents in it and patterns. So I think that's fantastic. You got to start with one thing. You got to fall in love with one thing. You know, there used to be an ad that was, I think it was Kohler, and they said, they brought this faucet to their architect and said, design us a house around this. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's kimono or a faucet or a piece of furniture or a favorite painting, but you got to start with one thing.
Yep. Every design kind of starts with one thing. There's one feature of the house or one feature of the lot or something that we want to accentuate a little bit. And then we kind of make the whole build around that one feature.
Mm-hmm.
So it may not be a faucet. It may be like a huge backyard or a park, or we've had one that had like a pre-existing art piece in the yard that we thought was kind of cool. So we tried to orientate everything around that. So it is true. You got to pick one thing and then work around it, and then everything will kind of fit into place on that one.
My husband and I were kitchen people. Like, we need to have the utmost everything in our kitchen.
And you probably have a white kitchen.
Oh yeah, of course I do. The walls are navy blue, but everything else is white.
Now, you're somebody that white's actually a good color for. A lot of people do white just because that's what's cool, but white's actually a good color for you.
You can see my living room, it's white.
And color's always changing. If I'm not correct, because it does go a little bit with biology and your mental state and all that, but colors do change and they're fluid. It brings me back to you know how boys are like that blue, the light powder blue, and girls are that bright pink.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, back in the day, it used to be flipped, where the males would get the bright pink because that was fierce and bright and aggressive, and the blue was soft and calm, which was the female. And then somewhere down the line, it flipped to where boys wear blue and girls have the pink. So are you seeing any of those like transitions or flows where yellow is bringing in, or it's popular, and then blue gets popular, and then now grays are very popular, grays and whites? Are you seeing changes with that, and how does that affect people, or do you caution them from changing and going with the trend because of the energy of the room? Is there any play with that?
I always go with the energy of my client first and foremost. So I kind of don't care about trends, but I can tell you some information. So it's interesting that you brought up that pink. Thomas Jefferson, if you've been to his house, his bed is all this like bright kind of fuchsia-y pink, and that was very manly back then. And so we did kind of go through late 90s, maybe early 2000s, like I call it power pink. So like iPod had that kind of bright pink, and it was everywhere.
Yeah.
I think they call it millennial pink. Well, millennial pink is really more of a soft pink, but it became very powerful. And so how we got gray, I'll tell you that. How we got gray is in 2008, when the housing shortage happened, the housing markets fell. If you heard it once, you heard it 1,000 times. I feel like the ground got pulled out from underneath me.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at the Earth's core, what's underneath dirt? It's rock.
Mm-hmm.
And so every client I've had that wants gray, they say, oh, it makes me feel so safe.
Grounded. Yeah.
Because it's more like dirt wasn't before then, it was all brown and blue. Blue's coming back in again like crazy. And white's really big right now. We still have the gray. It was going out, but then we got COVID and people need to feel safe again. White's really big right now, partially because of COVID. Because for 2 years we were told we're dirty, we got to wash our hands.
Yeah, cleanliness, yeah.
Right? And on top of that, we've all had our own personal journey during COVID. Whether we had to reinvent ourselves, or our family situations changed, or family members are lost for disagreements or whatever. Like we've all had our own journey here. and so there's an element of it's a clean start, and so that's why white's really in. Blue is really big. Another trend that I just saw, and I've always loved doing this, you can see I painted the ceiling in this house.
I love ceilings.
I love them too. The showcase house this year in Pasadena, almost every ceiling had wallpaper on it, which I think is really neat.
Really?
Wouldn't want to be the one to have to do it or peel it off, but
yeah. Well, now they have it removable wallpaper too.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. but it does add a lot of dimension to a room and a space that a lot of people overlook. The ceilings are, it is a fifth wall. It's really important. And people just, oh no, it has to be white.
No, it
Why?
doesn't.
Why? Who said? No.
My mom, she would never have a white ceiling, and ever in her entire life would never do it.
There's
And that's something that I haven't changed. We've always done white ceilings.
Yeah.
So maybe we got to change and look at that a little bit.
It's amazing how much a difference it makes. And doing a little bit darker ceiling. I don't have it on this computer either. I just did a meditation room for a client, and she was like, I want a dark ceiling. Okay, cool. And first she said, I want black. I'm like, no, you don't really want black. So I got a color actually not too far off from this. It's a little darker. And then we got some gray walls. Gray's actually a good color for her. And I have this dark blue ceiling, and I found these poofs that had different colors of blue on them, and it came out really beautiful. She had this navy blue sofa already. So it was just, making things more what they were. And it came out stunning. She says it's magical. I'm like, yeah.
I love
That's awesome.
I've seen
That's definitely a review you want right there.
I've seen a lot of porches out here. We live in what's called lake country. Like, we live surrounded by just tons and tons and tons of lakes. And a lot of people have like these 3-season roomed or screened in porches with beadboard on the ceilings. And a lot of the ceilings have this very light blue on the ceilings because they wanted it to feel like more like the sky was reflecting on.
It's called paint blue. Do you know the story?
No.
Okay, so in the South, the slaves would paint the ceiling that color. It was supposed to keep the ghosts out. It was supposed to keep the bad spirits out. So it's called paint blue.
I did not know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have so many notes on these. I'm writing these all down. How did you get
podcast to date by far?
How did you get into this field? Like, did you go into the psychology background? Were you interior design and then kind of like narrowed down into the exact field, or how did you get into this kind of, I guess, subsect of design?
Well, my mother, she knew she was going to live in her house forever. And so since most people move every 7 years, she thought it perfectly normal to move her house around every 7 weeks. So my sister and I were her crew, and we did everything. We peeled paint. We peeled wallpaper, we painted, we moved furniture. So this was kind of my normal. I didn't realize, even though my friends and my grandma's house, like, they never changed, but our house changed. It just was normal. And she did it partially to change our behavior. She had polio when she was young.
Oh.
And so if we were putting our bookcase somewhere where she was tripping on it, our book bag, she would change the furniture so we wouldn't do that anymore. So it was constantly to change, what we were doing, or to change us, as we grew, we had different needs. And so she was just constantly changing. When I found out I could do this for a living, I was excited. I've always loved furniture. Always, like, give me furniture instead of toys. Like, the wood anniversary is going to be very expensive, but so anyway, I went into design school, and when I learned about the color psychology, I just latched onto it. And within about a year that, I learned the wardrobing technique. And I always saw the design as a healing element. And when I added those two features in, I was like, the color psychology is powerful, but when you add in the personality of color, it takes on a whole other dimension. And I saw what it did for me in my clothing. And I thought, if it can make me feel like this, what if your house can make you feel like you do in your favorite outfit every day? How much more confident are you? How much stronger are you? How much calmer are you? Yes. Your house is your haven, right? Mm-hmm. So it just kind of all happened at once. And did you hear that?
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I need to let him out.
Is that the puppy?
That is the cat.
Oh, okay.
He's quiet. I'm sorry. Anyway, so that's what it just all came together at one time, and it's just been fascinating to me how impactful this is. I just kept studying and studying and studying.
That's awesome.
I
And do you work primarily with homeowners, or do you work with like house flippers that are coming in and trying to create a blank slate? Like, where's your niche market?
Mostly I do homeowners, and I can do virtual work as well as in-home work. So I do have some virtual programs, and there's a lot I can do through Zoom. Thank you. That's one thing I can thank COVID for.
Yeah.
I found flippers don't want to pay for a designer. They're looking at all the magazines and doing the generic stuff, and they don't really want to pay for a designer. That's been my experience.
I might need.
Yeah, there's been a couple, and it's definitely price point dependent.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Are you good with like rearranging furniture and stuff like that too then?
I do everything. It's full service interior design. I can rearrange furniture. I do stuff called redesign, which is basically making the most out of what you have. So looking at your floor plan, looking at your pictures, where are they hung? How many accessories do you have? Do you have too many? Do you have too little?
I think I'm going to need you for my laundry room, because that is like the bane of my existence. That's the one room in the house that I cannot stand. It's the last room that we have to do. We have touched every other room in the house. So I might be calling you for that.
I can fix it. And I do, I'll help you pick out furniture. I do custom furniture, as I showed you, that bookcase that I showed you.
Yes.
Custom. And then this one's custom as well. Kitchens, bathrooms, if it's in your house, I can do it. I do outdoor rooms as well. So where did it go?
Yeah,
so
because
that's
I
another
could see
bookcase
this.
I did.
That's cool.
Take me out of it.
Wow.
So this is, you can't tell from here. This is a custom sofa I did. I think you guys are both taller than me, but at 5'2", you never touch the floor when you're sitting down. If you're sitting down in a chair properly, your heels never touch the floor.
Yes.
And my client was 5'2", and I said, what if we make this about 1.5 inches shorter? And she says, you can do that? And I'm like, oh yeah. And I said, we're gonna, it's your house. You should be able to touch the floor in your house and not feel, like a little kid.
Right.
So that was kind of a fun thing.
I don't have that feeling often, but when I do and my feet dangle, it is so awkward.
I bet you do. What are you, like 5'8"? You never have that feeling.
I'm just under 6'2". I barely ever have that. So
okay.
but the few times that I do sit and like maybe it's a bar stool and they don't have that little rail, I'm like, wow, this is super awkward. I don't know what to do with my feet. Like, do I cross them?
Yeah.
And just sit and dangle the whole time? That'd be super uncomfortable for my couch in my living room.
It would,
not be
wouldn't
able
it?
to sit correctly.
So this is another one that I did. This is an ADA bathroom. Doesn't look like it, does it?
I love the shower.
It's wheelchair friendly.
Yep.
It's wheelchair friendly, but it doesn't look clinical.
No, not at all. Not in the least. Yeah.
So
beautiful.
I'm trying to get one of those bathrooms in one of our flips.
Yeah.
That the curbless shower.
They're so nice.
I like those so much.
So this is another thing I did for another client who's 5'2". I guess I attract them. But the center island is shorter.
Yes.
So when you're 5'2", the standard height is 36, and you can chop and you can roll and do all that stuff, but the leverage is off. And if you come down about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, maybe 3, depending on what you do and how tall you actually are, bringing that down a couple inches makes a huge difference in the angle of chopping or rolling out dough. And ergonomically, it makes a big difference. And so having one space that's a little bit lower can be a big difference in how comfortable your kitchen is. And in this one, she, it's just one person living in the house. So she's got a sink and she's got a little place to eat. And it really is a nice little dining space for her as well.
Yeah. And you can't even notice the difference of the couple inches
You
by
really
dropping
don't.
that.
You really don't. And even if you're working with somebody who's normal height, I mean, well, they say 5'5" to 5'11" is quote unquote normal height. So, but there's some things like if you're doing a lot of pastry and stuff, even if you go into a high-end kitchen and it's built for somebody who is in that normal range, you'll see there'll be a lower counter, and usually it's marble, and it's for doing stuff like baking, because that rolling out, you need more leverage, you need a little bit more muscle, and that just a couple inches makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about the home owner. Is this something that you do services for, like home staging? Because that's another big thing with real estate, obviously moving, buying, selling all of the time. There are some people that it's either hard for them to see the potential of what it could be, or they're stuck on, oh, I didn't like that house because of I didn't like the color of the kitchen or something like that.
Right.
Where you can walk in on your listing appointment and saying like, okay, we've got to change the paint color to where this is. I'm not an interior designer, so like that is not my strong suit.
Right.
But I can walk in a room and say that doesn't fit. Where I struggle is saying like this will fit, which is where you come in. Is that a service that you offer or been talked to? Okay.
A consultation basis. So it's a move in, move out thing that I do. And I do offer it. I have some specials for realtors. Because a lot of times you're right, people can't see it. It cracks me up, these shows you see on TV, and it's like, oh, I won't buy the house because I don't like the paint color. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like, talk about the easiest thing to change, or one room has got like funky colored carpet. I'm like, really? Like, that's not why you don't buy a house.
Yeah.
It's got to have good bones, and people can't always see the bones. And so I have gone in and helped people to see that, or if they're getting ready to move, it could be move in, move out. Where do I put my stuff? My stuff doesn't fit. It never fails. What you had in the last house does not fit in the new house. Not the same way.
Yep.
Right.
So you
Which is
have
why
to
I'm
make
mind blown that IKEA still does the racking, that you can take your cabinets. Because I've installed so many cabinets and they will not work in two different places. I still don't get it.
They don't. Well, it's a good sales thing for them. It works.
That's true.
We have IKEA cabinets. We really like them.
The functionality, I like their cabinet. I don't understand how, like taking my cabinets from my kitchen and bringing them over to the next house that we're doing. It would be like a really hard game of Tetris to try and get them to meet correctly.
Well, in Sweden, that's what they did, though. I mean, that's apparently normal there. So, I mean, the thing is with IKEA cabinets, you can have so many different configurations because it's just the sizing of the cabinet. So if you need one more cabinet, just buy another cabinet and some more racking for it. I don't know.
Yeah. And for some reason, it's like a mental block.
Yeah.
Because we've got those Z tracks, which is like you could ratchet your tool belt or toolboxes down to them.
Yeah.
Like those are all interchangeable where you can adjust where you set your things. And for me, that makes sense. But when you talk about cabinets, I'm like, I don't get it.
No.
When it's really like the same racking in storage box,
right?
Whether it's tools or dishes, but for some reason in my head, it's like, it doesn't resonate.
If it's a garage, maybe, but the kitchen, you don't know what the next house is going to look like. That it could be a totally different layout.
That could be a whole separate U-Haul, just moving those things.
Right, for sure.
But I do like your move in, move out service because it is a two-sided thing. When you're selling it, it has a different look. When you're living in it, it has a different look. That's why they tell you to take down like pictures and personal items when you're selling. There are those little nuances that if you are selling your house, your listing agent should be pointing out and giving those little tips and tricks. But there is nobody on the buyer side about like, hey, you're moving into your house. If you're going to change things like paint color, it's probably going to be easiest to do it before you move your stuff in.
Right.
But that's all timing of when and how that all works.
Mhm.
And I can help people with that. I have a service where we just go through your house room by room, what works, what doesn't work, what, if you're looking at a space you're moving into, what's possible. And if you need me to pick out some stuff, I have some limits virtually, but there's a lot I can do. If you've got a fabric that's, hey, Jeanette, pick a paint color out for this fabric, I can do that. I can say, we can pick this color. I can get you really close to what works.
Yeah. And I know that there's something to do with, obviously the remote, you can see the space, like the room. Do you factor in scenery, the outside, the yard, the neighborhood? Is that something that, how would you do that remotely through Zoom? Because I'm trying to think of like, okay, if we're in here in Wisconsin, and the one big thing about the house that I built, the whole backdrop is on a river and it's all green and trees and everything. And I couldn't bring myself to put a paint color on my house other than like something natural, like a green or a white or like something earth tone. Because what I didn't want to do is people driving by soak in the house and miss the yard, because that's like the main thing.
Yard's gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, well, you would take me outside, I'd see the yard, and then I consult the deck. It's kind of my tarot thing. What paint color does it want to be? I
The
consult the
interior
deck.
designer, Miss Cleo.
So I consult the deck, and then I say, okay, these are colors. And the thing with monitors is, it's your monitor looks different than my monitor looks different. So picking out the right color can, I can get you close. That's why I say, I'll give you 2 or 3 colors and say, try these and see which one you like. Just because the nature of the monitor, I'm limited as to what's the true color.
Yeah.
So, but if you want, you could send me a couple blades of grass even. I wouldn't do that. But somebody sent me here's a small piece of fabric, or they need me to help them find fabric, I can do that. And I can help with furniture if they need something special, where they can touch the floor,
Yeah. The one other thing that it just popped in my head, because we were talking about the energy of the space and you were working with your clients. You mentioned the daughter that had autism. You mentioned your clients that you have and showed pictures. Mm-hmm. When you get more people in a household,
yes.
So let's say you've got the mom, dad, and they've got 3 kids. Do you go room by room, like kids' room, get their energy? But what do you do with the common spaces? And does that play into, okay, this one has, I don't know how to articulate it, but you always have like the strongest energy in a household or in a pack. Mm-hmm. So if this one is a strong feminine energy, does the feminine energy take over those common spaces, or is it a play off of both of them and you try to find like a middle ground? Because like that dynamic, I feel like would be a very touchy, well, the husband doesn't like this color, but the wife likes it, or vice versa. How does that all play into it?
So I actually have a lot of fun with that. So first rule is, if it's one person's room, it's theirs. Yeah. So the kids get to choose. That's a big deal. The kids should get a say in their room. If it's his or her office, that's their room. The kitchen, the person who cooks wins. That's
what
easy decision there.
If you both cook, then we mix them up. Okay. But and yes, there's always a stronger, that's just human nature, right? So there's always somebody that's more stronger. That's where my personality of color comes in, is it's mixing them. And so it's about harmony. In music, harmony is you've got a bunch of different chords that are all blending together. So it's finding the right things that are going to give each one of them what they need.
Mhm.
So you want to have this room, you can't see it so much. I just want to see if I have a room that shows it more.
Yeah, speaking on the paint color and having your kids choose, just while you're looking for that photo, when we moved in here, I obviously let my son Miles pick his paint color, and
Right?
he picked white and the brightest red he could find. And for me, I
Oh,
walk
wow.
into his room and I'm like, I could not do this.
No.
Like my room is like a dark, like a granite gray blue
Right?
and white, and I've got natural wood for my bed and all that. His is now like superhero. It's the bright blue, bright red, white, and he loves it.
I have to
But
give
little
Riley
kids
credit.
like that.
He-
Little kids need that higher intensity color, whereas
Yeah,
Well, because how old
yeah,
is
and
Miles? Miles
he can
is
fall asleep in it.
5, 6.
He's 7.
Okay. See, Riley's 10, and he chose gray with a like dark navy with like a wood map and a black bed. So I feel like it's just interesting to see how they progress.
Me and Riley are on the same wavelength there.
Yep.
'Cause
Yep.
that seems like something that I'd be into.
Very chill. It's a
it's
very chill.
personality too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your son, I bet, is really outgoing. He probably is really active in sports, or like he's kind of like the life of the party. He's very funny. He's very active.
Are you speaking of Miles
Your
or
son,
her?
your son, Marcus.
My son, he is he's very mentally active. His brain is always churning. He's not I wouldn't call him outgoing.
Okay.
Like he's timid at the start, but once you get him to open, he is like nonstop going.
Yeah, that's where the red is.
His mind is like, man, he'll juggle. We just had a baseball game on Wednesday, and he was in the batter's box talking to me. I was the catcher mid at bat because his mind was just in 2 places at once. And I'm like, just focus on one thing that you're doing. That is him.
So I'll show you. This was a couple. So she wanted something really formal, really ornate, and he was a little bit more modern. And so what we did was the mirror going all the way across is more for him.
Okay.
But we added these appliques on the wood to give it more of a formal look. And then we put an outline of, there's a rope detail on the cabinets. So
Mhm.
that was for her. The light fixture was more for him.
Yeah.
So we blended this. So there's a little something for each one of them. The faucet, I don't know if you can see it. It's really cool. It's a spout faucet.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think it's really very modern but it also has the crystal handles. So we just blended both of their styles so that each one of them walks in this room and there's something for them and they're both happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I would definitely go with the husband on that one, go more modern. Because I look at the detail and all that, and I love the detail of it, and we put that in. But for my personal space, I would not enjoy walking to that bathroom just from that piece. Like I want things like clean and straight lines and order, and
Right.
that's where I go with it. But that is a good blend because you've got those sharp lines,
Mm-hmm.
and you do blend in like the old artsy pieces for where her vibe and energy was.
And my husband says, whatever you want, Natasha, just do it.
So you
A
get
lot
to
of
pick
guys
the
do
whole
that.
house.
Huh?
Natasha gets to pick the whole house.
There you go.
I try to do some things for him. All he really wants in our next house is his stove. Like that's his big thing in the kitchen. It's just he wants a stove and to have enough storage for everything that we have in our kitchen.
That's easy enough.
Yeah, not too bad.
Once you add some square footage,
Yes,
we get all that stuff.
50% bigger than this house. So
Yeah.
Yay.
So you get that all there.
yeah.
Well, we're coming up on an hour here. I want to make sure that our viewers can get a hold of you because I know you do. I mean, you're out of the LA area, but you can do remote. So what is the best way for our viewers to get in touch with you?
So my website is thecolorwhisperer.com. There's 3 words. You need the. And my phone number is 626-485-6354, or they can email me at design@thecolorwhisperer.com.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to put all that stuff in the show notes.
Cool.
And I know you have a lot of examples. If you want to send some of those pictures over to Natasha, we can also put those in the show notes for people to click on and view as well. Because I mean, this is something that it doesn't take a lot of effort on their doing to actually apply what you're guiding them to do. And I know with people working at home, how many of them have actually changed their space in accordance to them now living in their house differently. And there's so many things that we've had a couple other interior design or I forgot the title that they had. Do you recall, Natasha? Where it was the episode we talked about when I go downstairs. What is it?
Feng
Shui.
So there was one episode where you walk downstairs and you just hit, in my house, you walk downstairs, you just hit like this imaginary brick wall. Like it just doesn't flow anymore. And that's kind of where the whole thought of like, okay, color patterns and how things flow are real. So if you're having any of those areas in your home that you can't figure out what's going on, like you would be a perfect person to bounce those ideas off of to try and fix.
I also do energy clearing for that situation as well.
Oh, okay.
I don't do feng shui, not the way feng shui does feng shui, but I can clear the energy of that stuff. So if you're moving into a house and you're still feeling the remnants of that person, or maybe somebody had been sick there or died there, or there was a lot of anger there or sadness, I can help clear that.
Yeah, and that's energy does stick with the house.
It does.
It's real. As much as we don't believe it's real.
It does.
Well, if any of the viewers have any of those rooms or situations that they want to bounce off of you, we'll make sure to put the contact in our show notes. Otherwise, enjoy your America weekend. Enjoy the weather out there in LA.
Thank you.
And we will talk soon. But we enjoyed the time. Thank you for sharing all the knowledge.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
Yes.
It was. And we look forward to more things in the future.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And we'll talk soon.